I'm going to discuss tonight a beautiful sikha of the Rebbe regarding Sefirat HaOmer. We're now in that period of Sefirat HaOmer, and I wanted to get you a beautiful, beautiful sikha. So we have the commandment of the Sefirat HaOmer, and it says that you shall Usfartem lachem mimacharat Shabbat. You shall count for you from the day after, it says Shabbat, but we know that that means the holiday of Pesach, 49 days. So it tells us a story that because of the wording of this verse in the Torah that gives us the commandment to count the Omer for 49 days, and that it says mimacharat Shabbat, from the day after Shabbat, that there was a group called the Bitusim, and they took everything in the Torah very literally. So they said they would not start counting unless it was a Sunday. So, for example, this year, Pesach started on Wednesday night, and we started counting the Omer on Thursday night. So they would have waited till Sunday, and then they'd be very way off to get to Shavuos after 49 days. So it's a question. Why does it say mimacharat Shabbat and not mimacharat Pesach? And the second question is, why did there have to be the Sefirat HaOmer at all? Why wasn't it that the Jews would be taken out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt, and immediately, maybe it would take a few days, but immediately go to Har Sinai and receive the Torah? That was the whole purpose of going out of Egypt, was to receive the Torah. So why is it that the Jews were not taken immediately to Har Sinai to receive the Torah? Instead, they were told they had to wait 49 days. What was the purpose of this separation? So we know that Sefirat HaOmer, it spans 3 Jewish months. The first one is Nisan, the month of Pesach, and we start counting the Omer in Nisan, right on the second night of Pesach. Second month is Iyar, and in that month we have all the days of the month we're counting the Omer. That's the main avoda of Iyar, is counting the Omer. And then we get to Sivan, and in Sivan we have the holiday of Shavuos. So we count the Omer the first few days of Sivan, and then we have the holiday of Shavuos, which celebrates the giving of the Torah, Matan Torah. Now it's interesting that with these 3 months in the Torah, each one of them has a verse that connects it to Yetziat Mitzrayim, to the going out of Egypt. None of the other months of the year have a verse that specifically connects it to Yetziat Mitzrayim. So for example, for Nisan, it says, Chodesh Ha'aviv Kivo Yatzata Mi-Mitzrayim, in the month of spring, because in it you left Egypt, referring to the month of Nisan. So there we see directly a connection between Nisan and Yetziat Mitzrayim, which we kind of understood that connection anyway because of Pesach happening in Nisan. But then we have Chodesh Iyar, the month of Iyar. LaChodesh HaSheni, B'Shana Shenit, Letzeta Me'eretz Mitzrayim, in the second month of the second year from their going out of the land of Egypt. So again, we have a reference to the second month, which is Iyar, and explicitly connecting it to Tzetem Me'eretz Mitzrayim, going out of Egypt. Now we get to Sivan. And it says about Sivan, Bechodesh HaShlishi Letzet B'nei Yisrael Me'eretz Mitzrayim, in the 3rd month of the coming out of the Jews from the land of Egypt. So again, we have a direct connection in a verse in the Chumash, in the Torah, between the month, the 3rd month, which is Sivan, and going out of Egypt. So these 3 months, Nisan, Iyar, and Sivan, are very connected to going out of Egypt. So the Rebbe explains that that's because these 3 stages that we have. So we said Nisan is connected to Yetziat Mitzrayim, Pesach, going out of Egypt. Iyar is when we're counting the Omer. And Sivan is when we have Shavuos and we get the Torah. These 3 months, these 3 seemingly different activities and holidays are all connected to this whole process of Yetziat Mitzrayim. It's one process from Yetziat Mitzrayim, going out of Egypt, all the way until receiving the Torah. So let's look a little bit closer at the mitzvahs of these 3 months and what they represent. So Pesach, we know the main thing we did on Pesach was eat matzah. And the matzah is a very flat bread. It doesn't puff up at all. It represents complete humility. Then we have the Sefirat HaOmer. What is the Omer? The Omer was a barley offering that was brought on the 2nd day of Pesach. And we call this counting that we do Sefirat HaOmer. Usfartem lachem mimachat Shabbat. You should count for you from the day after Pesach, from mimachat Shabbat. You should count the Omer. So we call it Sefirat HaOmer, but it was a barley offering. Now what is barley? Barley is considered an animal food. It's not as refined. It's not something that makes a very fine flour that's more refined like wheat, that makes a much finer, more tasty, more delicate flour. So barley was often given to animals as their food. So we look at it as an animal food. Then we get to Shavuos. What was the main celebration in the Beit HaMikdash on Shavuos? It was the bringing of 2 loaves of chametz, 2 puffed up loaves. So most of the meal offerings, the flour offerings that were offered in the Beit HaMikdash, they were made in such a fashion they were chametz. They were not puffed up. But on Shavuos, it was very interesting that they had a puffed up offering, and it was made of wheat. And wheat is a human food, unlike barley, which is an animal food. So what do these three things represent? So we said that the matzah represents humility, whereas chametz is symbolic, we learned this at Pesach, of arrogance. Being puffed up means being arrogant. It means having the Yetzer Hara be very active and saying, look what's coming to me. I deserve this and I deserve that and I am so great. So it's a lot of arrogance is what chametz represents, which is why we stay far away from it on Pesach. We have matzah. So we're trying to cultivate humility and bittul and nullification before Hashem. Then we have barley, which is the Sefirat HaOmer, is the barley offering. And the barley offering is also given. There's only one other place where it's a barley offering, which was the sota. The sota was a woman who made her husband jealous by being secluded with another man. And so it's called, the barley offering is called a offering of jealousy, because the sota, she made her husband jealous. So it has to do with very animalistic drives. Where does jealousy come from? Jealousy comes from, especially in the case of the sota, that she did something that animals do. She went with another man. That's not refined. That's animalistic. And the jealousy that develops also has to do with, a sort of a non-refined characteristic. So it has to do with animalisticness. And then we have the wheat, on the other hand, is a human food. It represents something that's more refined, more fine, more delicate to the palate, something which you would serve a king versus barley, which you'd serve an animal. So Pesach and Sefirat HaOmer and Shavuos represent this transition from these 3 states of a very humble nullification, represented by matzah. And then we have the barley. So it represents that during Sefirat HaOmer, we have to work hard on that animal soul and refining those animalistic tendencies that we have, so that when we reach Shavuos, we now have a refined person that we can offer to Hashem, which has some more puff up to it, but it's a puff up which is from holiness and not from animalisticness. So there's a beautiful pasuk in Shir HaShirim, which the Rebbe relates to this process. And Shir HaShirim is traditionally read on Pesach. So it's very associated with the holiday of Pesach. And it's a beautiful pasuk. It says, Mashcheni acharecha narutza heviani hamelech chaderav. Which means, pull me out. We will run after you. The king will bring me into his chamber. So it's, Shir HaShirim is like a love song. And here it's representing these three stages. We have Mashcheni, take me out. This was what Hashem did at Pesach. He took us out of Eretz Mitzrayim. Acharecha narutza, we will run after you. This is the running that we do during the Sefirat HaOmer, which is to refine ourselves. Haviani hamelech chaderav. And the Melech, the king, will bring me into his chamber. This is Shavuos, when we come into the chamber of the king and we learn his secrets, which are the Torah. So it's interesting that it says Mashcheni, pull me out, and that's singular, and then it says Acharecha narutza, and we will run after you. It's plural, and then Haviani hamelech chaderav, the Melech, the king, will bring me, singular again, into his chamber. Why is it singular, plural, singular? So he said it's exactly what this is, that at Pesach, the Jews were steeped into all of the unrefined, animalistic, idolatrous culture of Egypt, of Mitzrayim. Hashem had to pull them out. They didn't have their godly soul operating at full strength. The only thing operating there was their animal soul. And so Hashem had to pull them out. They couldn't get out themselves. So he pulled out this animal soul, and he's got this animal now. And so there needs to be a refinement of the animal. And that's the Acharecha narutza. That narutza, we, plural, my godly soul and my animal soul, we're going to work together. We're going to work together, and we're going to refine the animal soul so it will be fitting to serve Hashem. Now, why would Hashem want an animal soul to serve him? Why not just the godly soul? It's because if we think about it, an animal has so much strength and so much passion and energy. So if I'm going to try to get from here to the next town, if I walk or even if I run, it's going to take me a lot longer than if I'm able to saddle a horse, a fast horse, and gallop the horse toward the next city. So this is what the godly soul needs the animal soul for. It needs the animal soul to run to Hashem with all of its strength and passion. And narutza means to run. So again, strength, passion that can be trained to go toward the service of Hashem. And also narutza is related to the word ratzon, which means your desire. So not only are we running with strength, but we're transforming the actual desire of the animal soul to serve Hashem and be in sync with Hashem. And when we reach that level, so we take it one step at a time. First we have the mitzvah, the quality of kindness, then the quality of gevura, of strength of kindness. And we go through each one painstakingly, 49 different aspects, and we work on them and we refine them, and we refine them through Torah and mitzvahs and davening. Little by little, we train our animal soul to want to serve Hashem and to serve Hashem with passion and with strength. And then we reach the level of Haviani Hamelech Chaderav. We reach the level that the king is willing to take us into his chamber. We reach the level where we can enter Hashem's chamber and have our entire self, our godly soul and our animal soul, completely nullified before Hashem's will and wanting to do everything to serve him. And this is represented by the wheat offering, the bread, which is chametzdik, because with the matzah, we had to run away from any arrogance because it was the arrogance of the Yetzer Hara. Here, when we puff ourselves up, we're allowing in godliness. So it's a higher level of bittul. We can open up and get more from Hashem because we're ready, we're devoted, we want to serve him. So the Rebbe tells us that this process, which we're undergoing now through the Sefirat HaOmer, working on our midot. This year, I think we have extra ability to work on our midot, on our character traits, because of everything going on in the world. It's forcing us to rethink how we live our lives and what's important, and giving us a lot of time for contemplation. We're forced into it. So we have this opportunity actually every single day, and we have it through our service that we start with our prayers every day. So we have these three levels. We have the first level. When we wake up, what's the first thing we say is Moda Ani. Thank you, Hashem. And then when we start the davening, it starts with Hodu. It starts with thank you. So at that point, we're just waking up. We've barely started our day. And Hashem really is the one who got us up in the morning. He woke us up. He pulled us out, Mashcheni. Just like pulling us out of Eretz Mitzrayim, he pulled us out of our sleepful state. And so we just start our day just being humble and thanking Hashem for that and for everything else he's done. Then we get on to the next stage. The next stage is the Pesukei de Zimra and the Shema. And the Pesukei de Zimra, the verses of praise, this is where we start to contemplate all of Hashem's wonders. He's made an incredible world and all the things in our physical, natural world. He made the heavenly hosts, the planets and the sun and the moon and the stars and the infinite universe. And he made the angels and the celestial beings. So we go through all of that through the Pesukei de Zimra. So we work on our fear and our love of Hashem during those Pesukei de Zimra, and then the Shema Yisrael, where we really reach a level that we're fully engaged and fully ready to devote ourselves to Hashem. And then we're ready for the Shmoneh Esrei. Now that we're completely given over to Hashem and we realize how great he is, and we're so thankful and we're so in awe. So now we're ready to go in to Chadrei HaMelech, into the chambers of the king. He will bring us in. So when we stand in front of Hashem to say the Shmoneh Esrei, and we bless Hashem for being the God of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and of all the world, we can approach him then with such awe and such fear and such respect that it's an overwhelming experience in a certain sense to actually be standing in front of the king. And if we really internalize that and we really realize who we're standing in front of, it will really hit us, and we'll have the right approach to our Shmoneh Esrei. And we will then read the different blessings and realize that we're humbly asking Hashem to please bless us so that we can serve him, and that we thank him for all the blessings that he's given us and for all the abilities he's given us to serve him, to learn Torah, to daven and to have peace, Avas Yisrael and peace. And at that point, we are at a higher level of nullification before Hashem, because we've opened ourselves up that He can come in and fill us. So this, in essence, is why it says, Mimacharat HaShabbat. Count Mimacharat HaShabbat, the day after Shabbat. And it doesn't say Mimacharat HaPesach, the day after Pesach, because Shabbat represents a high level. In the natural world, Shabbat was the whole point of the other 6 days. The seventh day, when Hashem rested, was the culmination of the creation of the 6 days. So every week, Shabbat is the highest. And it's the thing that represents the most power and spirituality in the entire week. But yet, it's still within the realm of the physical creation. So Hashem realizes that for us to go from a level of matzah, of animal soul, which is not working with the godly soul, to a level of shavuos, matan Torah, of getting to that level where we can fully devote ourselves to Hashem, we need something above the natural order of the world. And that is why it says Mimacharat HaShabbat. It's even higher. It's the day after. It's a level beyond Shabbat. It's a level beyond the greatest day in the week. It's a level beyond that. And that's the level that we are given during Sefirat HaOmer. Hashem is sending down a power to us from beyond the level of the creation of the world, so that we can refine ourselves. So when Shavuos comes, after the end of those 49 days, we're ready. We're ready to wholeheartedly receive the Torah, accept Hashem into our lives, and serve Him with all of our powers, our physical powers, our spiritual powers, with all the passion and with all the desire of the animal soul and the godly soul. So I wish you all a very meaningful Sefirat HaOmer, and God willing, we are going to be celebrating the holiday of Shavuos in the Beit HaMikdash with Mashiach Tzidkenu this year. Amen.